So I just wanted to talk about how the Mandela Effect happened to me twice in a week. It's now the Mandela Effect, as I understand it, is basically masses of people misremembering historical events. Um, but on the individual level, I think it still exists, and I'll just give you what happened to me this week. So just to give it, just to say that this can happen, multiple, some you slipping into a different parallel universe can happen because it happened to me. At least I think it did. Otherwise, I might have some some other issues that I need to look into. So I have a folder on my Dropbox. It's kind of an obscure name. I use it for important documents to get business proposals, basically. But the name, the name was kind of weird, and it never like. I always use like date modified so that the newest stuff comes to the top, and for some reason that didn't work in that folder. Like it was always sort of buried, and I had to scroll to find it. So it was always irritating, and I was like, I think I never even consciously was like, I need to fix this folder. But it was always, when something's irking you, that you need to kind of do a chore to make your organizational life better. That was always, I always felt that tug, but I never did anything about it. I was like, it's working, it's fine. Maybe a week ago, I went to that folder I usually go to that folder to start a new proposal. It was completely empty. I think there was like one proposal in there. There's actually supposed to be probably like 100 proposals in there of old proposals that I used to generate new ones. There was like one in there, and I kind of panicked for a second. I was like, okay, where are all my proposals? It's Dropbox is kind of weird. It's kind of deleted stuff on me before, but not very often. Usually probably in a shared folder. So this is not a shared folder. That's important to note. So the only person who can mess with this folder is me. Ostensibly, So it wasn't there. Then I went to the root, starting to panic. I see a folder called proposals. All the proposals are in this folder. Now, I know, without a shadow of a doubt, in my track of reality, I did not make this folder. But I know I also subconsciously thought about making this folder every time I opened it. So in the potentiality, I could have made that folder at any point during these hundreds of times. I know I didn't in this track of reality, but it actually doesn't matter if I did or didn't because I should have. And funny enough, it was made, but in another track of reality, this folder got made. It's like it was time. There was too much potentiality. It's like it had to happen. It didn't happen on my track of reality, but it did happen. I really, I know the way my mind works. It's just not. There's a bit of laziness there. Like it's not something I would do and not remember. But I know I should have done it, and it got done. So it's really strange. And now that's how the Mandela Effect manifests on the pop culture scale. It's usually these insignificant differences between the reality you remembered and the reality that is showing itself to be the historical reality that is showing itself to be. So that I believe that's an example of the Mandela Effect in action on a personal level. And I think probably a lot of people have this kind of stuff happen to them. You do something that you don't remember doing. In this case, I can guarantee you I didn't do this, or I really have a mind slip. Like it could be a brain fart, for sure. That stuff that I'm not really prone to that kind of thing. So that's why it would be highly unusual that I would do something that significant and not remember. But I should have done it. In the potentiality, I've thought of doing it hundreds of times, and it got done. It's not surprising that I would have done it at some point. It's just that I didn't do it. So that's my Mandela Effect experience. The interesting thing about that is that it happened to me yesterday too. There's just a really annoying toy that I had. I don't even want to describe the toy. It's just too dumb. But I had to throw it out because I felt it was a bit of a safety hazard. The toy. Now I remember throwing this toy away. I made a point to throw it away. Now the toy can separate into different pieces, so it's possible that I didn't throw away the entire toy, although I thought I did. The toy manifested in the middle of the living room yesterday, being played with by the kids in the annoying way. I remember throwing away the toy. It's possible that there was a little piece of the toy hanging around. It's very possible, but it wasn't accessible. So it that I'm not 100% convinced that it's Mandela Effect, but it certainly could be. It's the same type of thing where you do something, and then the present reality doesn't reflect the thing that you did. It reflects a different timeline of where I didn't throw the toy away. So I threw it away again, but that one's not as strong as the Dropbox folder. That is blowing my mind, really, because that's how the Mandela Effect works. And just to give you, just to remind you what would have happened is, Max Lachlan would have said CERN destroyed the world. It keeps destroying the world, and we keep slipping into these very, very similar alternate universes. I'm not sure I believe that theory, but they're doing something over there. I don't know enough about CERN to really say. But the theory that there are multiple universes that are different in only minuscule ways is what sort of gives the idea of the Mandela Effect credence. And whether it was CERN or whether it's just that the fact that I think it's a fact that we are unconsciously creating reality. Could be a glitch in the so-called simulation that this thing happened. I basically ended up in a slightly different reality, one that's probably a little better for me, but one that I didn't actively choose to be in. And it really doesn't make a big difference, and that's sort of how the Mandela Effect works. There's so many things that have to change to make a dramatic difference in the alternate, in the parallel universe, for you to really notice that something's really going on. Like it's probably millions of universes have to be destroyed before you end up in something wildly different. Could be billions, so we're talking about little changes, enough so that you don't notice. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm not even sure this recorded. Oh, I guess it did. Okay. So that's what I got. That's my Mandela Effect experience.